Okay, so now we're going to talk about the gastroparesis diet and the definitive one that you can find online, and that probably dietitians and nutritionists this is probably their go-to as well. This was something that I discovered before I was diagnosed, that because I had noticed that my symptoms, when I looked them up online, it went directly to gastroparesis. So I thought I would just change my diet to see if that changed things. And I don't know that I noticed any difference, but you can find this at gicare.com. And it's the gastroparesis diet for delayed stomach emptying. And this is by Frank W. Jackson, MD. It goes through a three-step diet, which, like I've said before, in the beginning, this is what I used. But even doing like the step one of this diet, if I was to go back and do it now, because sometimes they tell you if you have a really bad episode, then to switch back to the step one of the diet and then proceed on. But if I try to go to the step one diet now, my body just is not having it. I just feel really sick and very warm and headachy and all that stuff. Everything that you could imagine if you weren't getting enough nutrients, which, they tell you right here, you don't get all those nutrients that you need and everything. And you're only supposed to stay on these for a certain amount of time. But just to go over some of this. So, like, the step one of it is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You have Gatorade, ginger ale, bouillon, and saltine crackers. That's your meal. Now, throughout the day, the ginger ale could be Coke or Sprite, and then everything else remains the same. So, what I did was I adopted this into a different way because I couldn't imagine that the soda would be very good for you. So I just never used that. I think that's what I replaced with Boost in the beginning. And I use a Simply Boost, and that was referred to me by a dietitian. I figured that was better than having soda. And then instead of Gatorade, I would use coconut water. And then saltine crackers I would still do. Boiling I would do, although sometimes I would just turn that into bone broth, like get an organic bone broth. It tastes disgusting, but when you have it with saltine crackers, at least you're getting the salt from that. It does allow you to have other things, but that's like the basis. And it gives you a list of things that you can or can't have based on gastroparesis. But please keep in mind that everyone's gastroparesis is different. And who knows if it's really gastroparesis? Like, who knows? So you might be able to tolerate things that other people wouldn't. Step two of the diet, for breakfast, you have like skim milk, an egg, white toast, apple juice. Lunch, mozzarella cheese, saltine crackers, chicken noodle soup, Gatorade. Dinner, peanut butter, saltine cracker, vanilla pudding, grape juice. Morning snack is a ginger ale and canned pears. Afternoon snack, skim milk, cornflakes, sugar. Evening snack, frozen yogurt, saltine crackers. So, again, not trying to do apple juice because of the acidic qualities of it. So I would just switch that out with something different. I think I was able to tolerate mozzarella cheese fine. I feel like I can now. I usually get that on my pizza when I have it. Grape juice I wouldn't try because of the acidic qualities. Vanilla pudding I was doing, although the pudding that I was getting was a sugar-free from Jello, but it did have sugar alcohols in it, which my dietitian told me was a big no-no, to stay away from that. So then I got rid of that eventually. Ginger ale I never did. Pears you got to be careful with because those are a FODMAP. As well as you have to be really careful with sugar in general and carbs in general, because that's how you get your small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, is when you get too many sugars and too much bacteria. So you don't want to feed the bacteria anything. And then frozen yogurt I may have done in the beginning, but then didn't keep up with that because, again, that might be a FODMAPs too. And it might be bad for the SIBO. So it's just, you have to pick and choose your battles. And then the third step of this diet was you could do skim milk, cream of wheat, sugar, orange juice, white toast, margarine, jelly. Lunch or morning snack would be yogurt and Sprite. Lunch would be tuna fish, mayo, white bread, canned peaches, Gatorade. Afternoon snack would be chocolate pudding, ginger ale. Dinner would be baked chicken, white rice, cooked beets, dinner roll, skim milk, margarine, ice milk, pretzels. So as far as this, I probably just wouldn't add any sugar to cream of wheat. I do have that pumpkin spice cream of rice that I got from the book Living Well with Gastroparesis by Crystal Citrelli that I use to this day. I just, again, I have changed it so I don't use the added spices. And I definitely do not do orange juice because of the acidic qualities. Because I already have the acid reflux and they already told me that I have GERD. Um, Margarine I haven't tried recently, but I would always just swap that out with peanut butter anyways. And jelly I wouldn't do because those usually have sugar alcohols too. Canned peaches are FODMAPs, so no to that. Mayo I don't think I've tried since. Tuna fish I think sometimes can give me a little bit of a warmth, and that might be the oil in the tuna. Oh no. White rice and chicken I have to this day. I steam my chicken now though. Cooked beets, I don't know that I ever wanted to go that route. And they stain, so that's annoying. Um, Chocolate pudding I don't do just because the chocolate and the acid and yeah, and the sugar alcohols. Yogurt I was doing because one of the GIs that I had at one point wanted me to be able to replenish my bacteria or healthy bacteria. Um, but now that we've already run into the SIBO issue, we don't. I was told not to use yogurt. Um, and I don't know what ice milk is. I feel like I googled that at one point, but I just who has the time for that? So again, I say that's your go-to right there. Just pick and choose your battles and just experiment. I feel like if you experiment with a new food each week, you'll have a good idea of what you can eat and what you can't. I think for me, whenever I felt like an overheating sensation after eating something, that's when I knew it was probably not going to be something that I could eat on a regular basis. I understand that maybe that's just like a one shot deal, and maybe the next time I would eat it, it would be different, but I never experimented past that because it's just not worth it for me right now. Um, but yeah, another one that you might get involved in would be the uvahealth.com. There's a diet intervention for gastroparesis on there. I think that I might have been given that by a doctor and definitely by a dietitian at one point. And I'm looking to see if there's anything else on here that you might be sent to if you go online and look it up. Because, yeah, I definitely say research the stuff online. And like I always did, I always went to, online and saw the stuff that was made by medical professionals and not just like some random person like me. Um, but feel free to take my advice to heart because I hope that it's helpful.